The Nevadan is a 1950 Western starring Randolph Scott, Broderick Crawford, Dorothy Malone, and George Macready. Scott is Andy Barkley, a U.S. Marshal. He's on the trail of Tom Tanner, Broderick Crawford, an escaped robber. Tanner, now free, is looking to cash in on the hidden $250 loot from his recent stagecoach robbery. Donning a clever disguise as a Greenhorn City gentleman, Barkley hooks up with Tanner by saving his life from some gunmen, thereby gaining his trust and becoming his partner in crime, so to speak.
Trust me like a brother, don't you? I trust no one. Trusted you but long enough. I've been thinking. Who are you, anyway? I didn't ask who you were. No, but I'm asking you.
He wants to keep as close to Tanner as humanly possible, so he can retrieve the stolen money and arrest his man. But they're not the only two interested parties in the stolen loot. This is the Wild West, after all, so we need a screen baddie. Step up our main villain, Galt, played by George Macready, an insanely greedy rancher with some itchy-fingered gunmen. Galt, blinded by gold fever, will stop at nothing to get his hands on the loot.
I see you've got yourself a pretty fancy gun. Tanner's?
That's right. And the trigger's a little sensitive.
Well, Tanner was a very sensitive man.
I got it from Mama Florie's.
Did you pay for it, too?
I pay for everything eventually.
Scott still has time for romance, though, even amongst some stiff beatings by Galt's men, in the shapely form of Dorothy Malone. And just to make things a little more complicated, she just happens to be Galt's daughter, Karen. She's a beautiful, free-spirited woman who looks after horses on her father's old ranch, and is blissfully unaware of her father's criminal deeds.
Will you be coming back soon to pick up Cactus?
I hope so. Depends on a lot of things.
What things?
I can't answer that. Maybe someday I'll answer all your questions.
All right. Good luck.
So The Nevadan is an overly familiar, ever so predictable Western, with no real twists or surprises to speak of. What you do get is a fair amount of horse riding, and routine setup scenes in between, with Scott and the usually broad-acting Crawford both turning in extremely laid-back and unemotional performances. This is a pretty dull affair. In fact, I was losing interest at the halfway point. What the film is crying out for is some dramatic tension and threat. The film lacks energy both in the story and the acting. Even the usually reliable Macready as villain Galt is bland and ineffective. Dorothy Malone adds some much-needed class and sparkle to proceedings, however, as Scott's love interest. She is sweet, feisty, and darn handy with that rifle. All the same, this was a strangely flat Scott Brown production, with a leaden script and snooze-worthy performances. In its favour, it has some picturesque Lone Pine locations, and a fairly entertaining final standoff, plus a good fistfight between Scott and Crawford. To sum up then, the film starts off fairly well, has a protracted and dull middle section, before rallying somewhat to a not bad finale. But it's the lazy, energy-free central performances that sink it, and make this film hard to stick with. Scott is always great to watch in westerns, but he just had an off day in the office with this effort, unfortunately. Crawford is no better, an actor of real quality, giving a strangely statuesque turn here. He's a criminal that never even gets angry in the entire film. So I give The Nevadan just about watchable 6 out of 10 Western stars. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.